Monica is so sad she's missing this.
Yeah.
She's
And
bummed.
Aaron.
There she is.
Oh.
Woohoo! Oh, we're live again. Yay, finally.
All
Sorry,
right.
everyone who is out there.
We're
Thanks for hanging
resurrected.
in. Yeah, thanks for hanging in for this. Technical difficulties. Kevin had to recalibrate his hunkiness. It was just too much for YouTube.
You
And it blew
broke
up.
the internet.
Yeah. Good one, Kevin. Good
Yeah,
one.
sorry,
Thanks,
sorry, I'm the
Kevin.
worst. I'm so sorry.
I'm on my third computer because of your hunkiness.
I am so
Man.
sorry, you guys. On a computer now and my phone. All right, this is gonna work.
Gonna work.
It's
All
awesome.
right.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, so why don't we pick back up with Taryn, just giving us a quick summary about what he's working on now, and then we'll lead into the rest of you guys.
Okay, so I'm not sure where we cut off before.
Taryn,
so I'll
you cut off when you were just about to tell us the name of your publishing house web address.
because I was rewatching the YouTube chat video and it cut off like before I even started speaking, so I don't know whether that was where it stopped working or whatever.
Oh.
Just start from the beginning then.
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah,
quick.
start
But
from the beginning.
so basically, I'm writing a new series. It's called the Contender series, and it's like a mix between The 100 and Avatar. It's about groups of people being taken from planet Earth to another planet entirely and made to do kind of fight in this giant tournament that's kind of planet wide, and where the loser will have their home planet destroyed. So that's the plot, and it's got some really cool concept art that I'll be sharing. And the two main characters are, one is a modern day juvenile delinquent from America, and the other one is a Victorian era cat burglar from the all-girl 40 Elephants gang. And it's just a really fun story. It's been, a lot of fun to research, and it should be coming out in 2019, so it's still quite a ways off.
It's gonna
But it's a book a year, so that's what happens. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm starting a small publishing house with two business partners, specifically to focus on a genre that's called lit RPG or game lit, depending on who you ask. And it's very similar to a book that's very popular called Ready Player One. And the basic premise is people playing video games and kind of leveling up and getting new abilities, and there's some statistics involved there. And people have just been really enjoying that genre online, but it seems that publishers aren't particularly interested in publishing it. So I thought I would step in and fill that gap and help authors kind of get to that professional level.
This sounds like my book. This sounds like Kim Kardashian crafting her own game. You gotta talk, buddy. There's a market. Waddy's winning.
Well, I mean, you could do a version of it. There's such variety in lit RPG. I mean, there are some books where somebody starts as, for example, a book that just came out recently where and you're leveling up as a kind of golem in this game world, and it's and kind of protecting this little girl, and it's hugely popular, and it's all about kind of interspersing game mechanics into a story and making it feel like a video game. And if you've read the book Ready Player One, or you are planning on seeing the film that's coming out in April, it's very similar to that. And yeah, we'll be taking submissions. The website is www.portal-books.com. It's not live yet because we're launching mid-March, and we'll be launching with two books, one of which is called Occultist, and the other one is called Warden. And that one of them is a fantasy kind of cyberpunk story, and the other one is a sci-fi cyberpunk story.
Nice.
Wow, it sounds
And that's
amazing.
it.
I can't wait to get my head.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's something I'm really passionate about, and I just feel like there's a space for it, and traditional publishers aren't particularly interested in taking a look at it, no matter how much I bang on about it to them. So it's I think it's something I'm super excited about, and hopefully it'll give authors the help they need to get into that space.
Cool. Are you finding it like totally a different set of skill sets to being an author, to be opening your own publishing house, or does it translate over?
Yes and no, because I've worked at a traditional publisher before. I've had some time at Penguin Random House. I've also worked at an ebook retailer before, Blinkbox Books, which doesn't exist anymore, but was Tesco's ebook imprint before it was kind of sold off. And you know, I also have experience as a self-published author. I have experience as a traditionally published author. So I've literally seen every side of publishing. I'm even familiar with how agenting works and foreign rights sales works. So I really do have a broad understanding of how publishing works. And because I come from a business background as well, I have a first in business administration from Bath, which is the #1 business university in the UK. It just has slotted together very nicely. And my two business partners are, you know, hugely talented people as well. One of them worked at Bloomsbury previously and is also an author. His name's Michael Miller. And then we also have a brand manager, Brooke Aspen. He's a brand manager at Kraft Heinz. So there's a whole gamut of skills going in there. And we've also got lots of very talented freelancers working with us. And, you know, it's not been as hard as I thought it would be. It's all come together beautifully. And yeah, we're just super excited to get it off the ground and see how it does. You know, there's just so much that I've always wanted to do with my own books that I can't, because my traditional publisher is in charge of marketing, and I find myself incapable of doing my own marketing because they reap the bulk of each sale. So I can't get a good return on investment if I spend money in marketing. So this is my way of, you know, being able to flex that business side of things that usually I wouldn't with my own books. And my publishers do an amazing job, but, you know, I'm always keen to experiment and stuff, and I'm not able to do that with my own books just yet. So yeah, it's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Sounds exciting. I can't wait to check it out.
All right, Josh, how about you? What are you working on?
I've been stuck in TV land lately. You can see behind me, I'm getting my pilot ready for the next round.
Yay!
Looks like I'm an insane person.
Can you zoom in and like get, you know, steal something? Like just get like a little hint?
Oh yeah. I'm terrified.
Is that like a 4-act structure? Is that what's going on, or is that just different episodes? Or
yeah, no, that's a 5-act structure, which is kind of traditional for hour-long shows. I'm writing a cable, so I'm actually not writing 5 acts. It would look like one giant script, but I always help to build to something 5 times. You can do it 7 times, but I chose to do 5. 5 exciting moments
nice.
In that pile of crap behind me. But after that, I'm really excited to dive back into Wattpad with right now I'm calling it Killer Party. It's going to be about, have you ever seen the movie Can't Hardly Wait?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. What if there was a ghost that killed people at that party? Finally, the question will be answered.
The question we never knew we had.
Now you have the question.
Now
I will answer it shortly on Wattpad. So I'm doing sort of a quirky ghost house party movie novelization of a party movie that never existed with a killer ghost.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. So, you know, just to make it as tough for me as possible to sell a book or get anything done. That's my approach to life.
Like it.
Yeah. Ooh, is that it? Do I?
So, Kevin, how about you?
Who, me?
Yeah, you, Kevin.
Didn't we already talk about me, or were we off the air at that point?
I think we were off air. Your hunkiness broke it.
So sorry.
Sorry, but not sorry.
Can I just say?
You know what? I will totally
Reading that-
run with that excuse that Kevin's hotness broke the link.
I want to apologize to the other guys on the Hangout for suggesting the hashtag Wattpad Hunks. Although everyone is very attractive, I'm worried it's taking away from our writing. We're being objectified. We're here because of our looks, which is fine. I'll take it, but we should focus on the writing. We should try not to focus too much on how good looking.
I disagree.
All right, fair enough. Shirts off, or what's the deal? Oh my god. Okay, what am I working on? Okay. I am working on a dystopian Kardashian thriller called No More Selfies. This is a book where a terrible man becomes president. He starts taking over the internet and the media and sort of Silicon Valley, and just basically
sounds painfully accurate.
It is very. It's basically it's been kind of. There's been a lot of times where I've written a chapter and then something very similar happens later, and it's more depressing than fun for me. Like I had a chapter where one of the very first chapters mentions Kid Rock being in charge of the judicial branch of the government, and then he like announced he was going to run for Senate or whatever like a few weeks later, and it's really terrifying. That
It's blame everything on you. Is that it?
It's coming true.
It's all my fault. Literally everything is my fault. I'm so sorry.
Can you like put in there that like Bernie Sanders makes it come back or something?
I don't know. So anyway, so yeah, that's my current project is No More Selfies. It got its start as a story in the Imagines book that Wattpad put out a couple years ago called I had a story in that book called Taking Selfies and Overthrowing the Patriarchy with Kim Kardashian, and this is basically sort of like an increased kind of novelization of that story, and we'll see sort of how it goes. I just need to, I try not to think too far in advance and worry more than sort of the next 1,000 words that I have to write. If I do like get to the end of this book and I'm still excited to play more in this world, it could be part of a series. But I tend not to think too big picture like that. I'm not like the businessman taking over the world. It's like her, and I just really just want to like write and then just admire myself in the mirror.
What about you?
You cut out there, Fallon.
What's new and exciting for you, Tim?
So at the moment, I'm writing my new story, which is Mother's Hand, and I spoke to you guys a little bit about it recently. But essentially, I mean, the way I'm billing it is George Orwell's 1984 meets Blade Runner, and so it's set in a future, in a dark future, in which Earth has been already colonized by a kind of a race, or actually just a family of like superpowered aliens. Like if you imagine a really evil version of Superman mixed with maybe the Duchess in Downton Abbey, then you'll get like a.
I am here for that.
Then you get the kind of character that I've created, and she's known as Mother on Earth. And part of their regime is that everyone has to do 4 years military service, policing the society. The catch is that your consciousness is stored while you do this, and so it's just your body that kind of gets uploaded to a mainframe and has to do its 4 years of military service. And then you wake up 4 years later and you don't know what you've done or to whom. You've just been like an automaton for 4 years. So it starts with our main character waking up screaming a name he doesn't know in this facility after he's done his service to Mother's Hand. And then he later on finds out that he was actually away for 6 years. And so his journey to discover what happened in those 2 missing years, accompanied by his really funny and cool next door neighbor called Gary, and also his robotic pet monkey, which he's kept since a child. And they kind of have some intense and amazing adventures. And I've tried to really make it in parts funny and in parts scary, and just a little bit of a good old-fashioned kind of action adventure story.
Are you posting that to Wattpad?
I am posting it to Wattpad, and it's been very different. As previously, I'd written my story was completed, and I was just kind of editing it and uploading to Wattpad. But this time, I'm writing it live and posting to Wattpad, which I've found a little bit more challenging, actually. But yeah, it's all up on Wattpad. I've just posted chapter 22 yesterday, and about halfway through now. So I feel like I can see the end, and I'm on the home stretch. And unlike any of my kind of other projects, this is just a single book too. So that's kind of a new thing as well. But it's exciting. It's very exciting. I'm really, really enjoying this.
Does anyone else find it difficult to focus on the words when Tim is saying them, because you're so focused on how attractive he is?
Hashtag why is Tim so hot?
Sorry, Tim's been talking. I've been watching his eyes.
Thanks, guys. I've been getting a lot of banter at work from this. And obviously, look, I work at Wattpad, right? So you guys do this Wattpad Hunks thing. You're like, oh, this is funny. And then I get it pinged to me, and people share it, and then I'm in like a professional meeting, and actually we have a Wattpad hunk here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. You're making me famous in the office. It's great.
That's awesome. All right, guys. So what achievements are you most proud of, and anything exciting that's upcoming for 2018? Why don't we start with Kevin?
Me? What achievements? All right, I have 3 things that have happened in my life because of Wattpad that I'm most that I just like. I can't believe they even happened. I feel so lucky and so blessed. I was profiled in the Boston Globe last fall. Like a reporter who I met was really interested in my stories, and she read them all, and then she wanted to interview me, and that was just really crazy. That I got to be in a newspaper. My mom was really excited. It was the first time she really engaged with anything I'd sort of written or anything like that. So that was really great. The second thing that I'm really proud of is that I wrote a book of I don't know what to call it. I guess it's recipe fan fiction for when Chrissy Teigen had her Cravings book come out. I loved this book. I loved it so much that I decided to write fan fiction for her recipes. So I wrote a story that incorporated her recipes into the stories about her running a school for wayward models who wanted to learn how to cook. It's called Chrissy Teigen's Culinary School for Wayward Models. So anyways, I started writing it because I was really excited about her recipes, and I tweeted it at her, and I said, hey, I'm if you have any suggestions or recipes you wanted me to hit or whatever, I'm writing fan fiction about your recipes. And she followed me back on Twitter, and she still follows me to this day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's insane. Every day I check Twitter, did she unfollow me yet? Is she sick of my shit? Let's go. It's it's totally insane. It's amazing. And then kind of the most the weirdest, craziest thing that that is really just kind of it just made me work harder as a writer and made me more devoted to the Wattpad platform was Anna Todd, our friend and one of our inspiration and one of the sort of huge success stories about fan fiction and writing on Wattpad. She was on a panel a couple of years ago, right when I was first starting to post to Wattpad, and somebody asked her a question about what's your favorite fan fiction, and she said my book. She said Kim Kardashian Trapped in Her Own Game, and I was and I heard about this from a reporter who I was following was tweeting live tweeting, live tweeting sort of the questions on the panel, and the reporter was sort of disbelief, what the hell is this Kim Kardashian Trapped? I was that's my book, that's my book, that's my book. And I was sort of totally freaked out, and it's still to this day one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to me. That's the story. All
right, so Josh, how about you?
My greatest accomplishments on Wattpad, the fact that people read anything I wrote was a massive accomplishment, and that they liked it was just it was really cool to have Strange Yarns be selected for the Wattpad Presents. That was really cool to have the young filmmakers come and take my weird stories and film them, and some of them came up with endings that were way better than I could have ever thought of, and I'm really excited to share those short films once they're all done with you guys. So that was a cool accomplishment. And what else?
Meeting you guys. Excited for 2018 or?
2018 is going to be really cool. A lot of stuff sort of outside of Wattpad for me. I'm going to be running my own television show, probably, most likely. They can always take it away from you at the last moment. But I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be exciting. And I'm really, really jazzed to really finish my first real novel, because Strange Yarns is more of a collection of insanity sewn together with guts. But I'm gonna have this killer party thing is my goal for 2018, so I can join all of you amazing people with having an actual book. We'll see though.
It looks
I've
like you
made
need
these
to
claims before.
uncover an alien conspiracy.
Right.
That's a pretty big goal.
Well, oh yeah, well, yeah, that is not part of the show. That's actually just what I'm doing.
This is what you're doing in real life.
I know there's aliens. It's LA. There's aliens here. This thing is going to be like, 1 hours are generally drama, so my approach is to do something a little bit stupider. But I want to do a show about a mayor who gets infected by a parasitic alien, and he has to sort of, convince everyone to let him lay an egg in their brain.
Wow.
Wow.
But it's funny. Romantic.
It's a romantic comedy.
Yeah. Rom-com with egg.
Nice.
Yeah. And my number one thing I'm looking forward to 2018 is hanging out with you guys at WattCon again. Yes, that was the best.
It was.
It was fun.
And you, viewers at home.
Fun.
Tim, you're up.
So my coolest moments so far, there's been some, obviously Wattpad has really changed my life. Getting firstly, I guess it all started with getting to that #1 spot was really, really exciting. And then becoming a Wattpad star, which was an honor. And then having the opportunity to write professionally for Wattpad, doing a short story for General Electric, which I was paid for. So it was the first time I was ever paid for my writing. And I tell you what, guys, it couldn't have come at a better time, because I was living in Saskatchewan, and we want to talk about cold weather. Leah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was -40 and my car was broken. And so I remember I was late for work, and I kind of was working in a job where it didn't have the best work environment. It was one of those jobs where the rule was if we got there and the button was green on the door, which means it was already open, you were in shit. They wanted you there before 8 a.m. and we were part of a big union. And it was really strict. So I'm rushing to work, and I rush and leave my gloves and my hat at home, and I'm getting the bus to work. So I'm waiting at the bus stop in -40, and I'm trying to cover my ears to stop getting frostbite. There's literally a frostbite warning. And then when my hands get so cold, I have to put them in my pocket, and then I have to put them back up, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, this is the worst. And I get on the bus, and I have a message from Caitlin being like, Tim, congrats. You've got this writing gig, and this is how much we're going to pay you. And Wattpad paid me they paid me even before I did the writing. The cash was in my account so fast.
How much was it?
It wasn't a massive amount, but it was enough that I could immediately go out and buy a car, which I did, which is that's kind of a badass way. It's spending your check, So I got a proper American car, and I was driving around the prairies in a big Dodge Charger, which was awesome.
Oh my God.
So that was a big highlight. And then working for Wattpad and moving out of Saskatchewan, and now I live in literally the center of downtown Toronto in a condo that has concrete ceilings, which is great. 2018, my most exciting thing is finishing my current project in querying. I'm really looking forward to going back to the trenches with all these years of experience in my belt and trying to sell another book. It's been amazing as well seeing my friends be successful, all of you guys here. That's been definitely a really, really high moment, seeing all you guys kind of get publishing deals and all that kind of stuff. So that's been pretty special. And also WattCon, and I get to kind of be really quite involved in this, as I'm one of the people that's responsible for selling the sponsorship of WattCon to brands. And also generally in my day-to-day job, I'm often the first person who is telling someone at Kraft or Nike or Samsung or H&M about Wattpad for the very, very first time. And so I get to boast about the platform, our community, and the people watching this, as well as our writers as well. So I get to that's continuing to be a great kind of fun thing about my gig and my life in 2018.
Very cool.
And Taryn, what about you?
So yeah, obviously launching this new publishing house is pretty exciting. And I've got a 4th book coming out in May, which I'm super excited to have published. I worked super hard on it. And yeah, I guess there's also a companion guide coming out for the series. I'm one of those authors who likes to get a lot of artwork done for their books, even if it's not actually going to be included in the books. And you know, it's just fun for me. So I had all the demons in my book sketched, and I had all this kind of well plotted kind of stuff to help my book stay on track, because it's a fantasy and there's lots of things going on. And I think basically my publishers were like, look, we want more summoner stuff. And I said, well, I've given you this prequel. How about a companion guide? I've got all this artwork. And they said yes. So I've been working on that. I've also written a 25,000 word diary that goes into this companion guide, which forms part of the canon of this world, which is super cool. And yeah, I'm super excited about that. And 2 weeks ago, I got verified on Instagram. That was pretty cool.
I saw that.
And I think that's it. I think those are the main highlights.
Is your companion guide drawn by the same person who did your covers?
No, so there's a sketch artist who does the illustrations in the back of the UK paperbacks. And he is actually American. And I've been working with him long since before I even started writing Summoner, just doing sketches of kind of other projects that I was working on. And he's this great guy called David North, and he's doing most of the sketches inside. And then in terms of, there'll be way more detailed illustrations, colored, proper digital artwork that's going to be scattered throughout, and also a cover. And for that, we'll be using a different artist to the one who's been doing my covers. And I don't actually know who that is yet. So it's something that I've been kind of negotiating with the art director over at Macmillan, saying, these are the artists I like, and hopefully we can pick one if they're not too expensive. And it's a process, but I've been having so much fun, and it's one of the best things is watching your world come to life in an illustrated way, and kind of going into deeper into the detail of your world, like creating family trees and statistics and all these things. So it's been great fun.
I kind of feel like for anybody who's curious about world building in a fantasy novel, that's probably a good tool to buy and just see how you do it. You probably
it's true. Like pretty much all the content is stuff that I've created while doing the world building for my novel. I mean, there's so much that doesn't end up going into the books, and you're like, I really want to show off all the demons that I've created, but you don't, and that's an instinct that an author needs. Is that not all of your world building can go into a novel. Even Tolkien is slightly guilty of doing that. He had to create an entire language from scratch, and get as much of it into the book as possible. So there's a balance there, but yeah, absolutely. Hopefully people can learn from it, or just find it's cool how detailed the world goes. That it's really being fleshed out, and people have been asking for it for a long time as well. I think I get a message every couple of days from somebody saying, have you ever thought of, and then just describing what the companion guide is. And I know that there's tons of people who play Dungeons and Dragons using my demons and stuff and my world as a kind of basis for it. Cool. And they're always sending me messages asking me to determine the statistics of something they've created, or the statistics of a demon that is mentioned but doesn't have any statistics in the book. And now they'll have it. I'll just be like, buy this guide. It's there. All the information you could possibly want is there.
I feel like playing cards might be the next step then.
Who knows? Maybe if a film deal happens, then they'll start doing merchandising and things like that.
So, I hope so. Please put us on the list for the red carpet, the premiere.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Did you find world building challenging at all, or?
No, it's my favorite thing. It's basically my procrastination. So my new series, for example, is it basically includes lots of groups of people that have gone missing from across history. And it's become a 20-page appendix of and these aren't a paragraph for each one. This is just a line for each one. It's just literally all these different groups of people across history that have gone missing under mysterious circumstances. And I've even got spreadsheets where I've categorized them under what weapons they had, what resources they would have had access to if they'd been abducted by aliens and put on this world. And it's if I need to include something in this novel, if I'm okay, they're in the jungle, they're surrounded by enemies, they need to come across something that will give them what they need, I can go down my spreadsheet and be okay, let's filter by swords, or filter by weapons, filter by firearms, then filter by if they had ammunition with them or not. And just like I can pick out exactly what I need and I can stick it into the story. So that's going to be fun, and hopefully I get a chance to do a companion guide for this new series as well. Fingers crossed.
So cool. I think we should give Taryn extra props because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and you just got back from being on tour in the US. Is this correct?
Yeah, so I've just come off like I think it was like an 11 or 12 hour flight from Texas.
Wow.
So
well, thank you for being here.
Because I was with Mike DiMartino, who created Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra.
Oh my god!
I was on a panel. It was just me and him on this panel, talking to this like huge room. It was funny because we were walking to the event that we were doing, and there was this ginormous. We were half an hour early, as you often are when you're the guest speaker, and there was this huge queue that like went around the block. It was like 20 people thick, and we were walking by, and we're both joking. We're like, "Haha, that queue's for us!" Like. But not really, right? Because it's probably for someone super famous. And then we got to the front of the queue and we saw that there was a big sign saying like queue for like fantasy world building with Mike DiMartino and Tara Mafra, and the whole queue was for us. It was insane.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't really for us. It was probably for Mike because let's be honest, like Avatar: Last Airbender is huge.
Oh, and the guy who's hit the New York Times bestseller.
Yeah, exactly.
Book. Like, come on.
I mean, there were a few people in there who were there for me. And me alone, but like the vast majority were obviously like big fans of his show, and I mean the room was packed. They couldn't fit everyone in. They had to turn everyone away, which was kind of crazy. And then there was a huge signing afterwards. Went on for like an hour. That was super fun as well. And then I literally flew from Heathrow. I did a layover. I got to San Antonio. I went to sleep. I woke up. I did this event. I had dinner. Went to sleep, woke up, and flew back. So I literally I think I spent more time in airports and planes than I actually did on Texas soil. But it was totally worth it. It was just fun.
Well, thank you for being with us, all of you guys. We are at 6 o'clock, or I guess it's 9 o'clock most of the time.
Oh, I'm sorry, I feel like I talked too long.
No.
No, just us hunks turning to pumpkins after 6:05.
Oh, you guys have been great sports. Thank you for putting up with our technical difficulties, Kevin. And
thank you for keeping the focus on the books and the writing instead of our bodies.
Right, we did our best.
Yeah, we tried to keep the eyes on your eyes, But yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
So much. This is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are the best.
Thanks.
Hey, Wattpad 4.
Woohoo!